Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's Sports Channel 8. Yeah. Sports Channel 8. Hey! Hey! Hey!
Sports Channel 8, the streaming coming at you. Participation trophy haver Weather Moose in the house, and Dark Sith Lord Ben Swain. Ben Swain made the fourth last week.
It's Cam Newton. It's Cam Newton.
All right, fair. Swain is going full Cam Newton's. I guess he's walking out in the middle of this if we ask him questions he doesn't like. So watch out. Wait, why are you pouting? Cam Newton pouted after the game was over. The series hasn't even started yet.
Yeah,
what is there?
0-0.
It's going to be crazy when the first series ends and it still hasn't started.
Yeah, Canes win the series 0-0.
And I'd be mad if I'm a Boston fan and the Canes advance without even having to play the series. Right. It doesn't seem fair at all. But no, we've got a lot to talk about, but it starts with the Carolina Hurricanes dropping the game yesterday to Boston after taking the lead. If we'd taken the lead in we went up 1-0. Yeah. That makes it especially troubling. There were a couple things. It also, it's not just the Bruins are winning, like the dudes that we don't want to be beating us are beating us, which makes it less fun. And also we've got controversial calls. We've got maybe losing our cool a little bit, which seemed like they were the ones losing their cool. Chris Williams says, "What's up" to Moose. Everyone favors Moose. Swain, what are your reactions after a rough weekend in Boston for the Canes?
I'm mad, man. I'm mad. I'm mad for many different reasons, and it's going to be a struggle to figure out where to begin here.
Okay.
No, I mean, ultimately, I think it's very clear that the Canes are the better team out of the two, and just need to stop taking penalties, but at the same time, probably also need to be getting some calls that they're not getting. The game changed one of two ways, depending on how you want to look at it, right? If you want to look at it as it was all the Canes' fault, the game changed when Svetch took that offensive zone penalty that kind of like brought in a bunch of 5-on-4 and 5-on-3 situations for like the next 12 minutes, really. Or you can look at the review of the goalie interference that didn't go our way. That was identical to the situation in game one that went the other way, and that's frustrating, right? And so that goal obviously made it 2-2. Then that led to the 5-on-3 situation that made it 3-2, and then 4-2 after that. So yeah, it just and there's just a whole lot of stuff going on outside of the series itself, where a lot of Canes fans and a lot of Canes media seem like they're really excited that the Canes aren't doing well right now. And that's always frustrating to see too. I don't know where that comes from, but it sucks.
All right, let's dive into a couple things, maybe in the order that you brought them to us. One, it seems like, especially after two games, and I guess this is like credit to their coaching staff, their team, or whatever. Like you said, it seems like the Canes are the better team, and the Bruins know we can't play 60 minutes of 5-on-5 hockey versus these dudes and win, right? So the Bruins, to their credit, they're going to get to their game right now is not 5-on-5 hockey. Like sometimes we might be on the power play, but that's it. We'll take that a couple times as long as we're getting some 5-on-4s and 5-on-3s. We believe we'll probably get the better end of the calls because we're the Bruins. So that's also a good game to play, right? And so that part is working. How other than not taking penalties, is there a way to like – Is there a tactic to staying away from that kind of game other than not drawing penalties and not?
I'm not too concerned about the penalty kill. Like you're going against one of the best power plays in the league, and they're not killing us on the power play. Like it's the only way they're scoring, so it seems like they're killing us on the power play. But we killed off 7 of those 9 penalties yesterday, I think. And so that's going well. The flip side of that is when the Canes do get a power play, they have to score, and the power play has kind of sucked, right? And they gave up that huge shorthanded goal in Game 3 that kind of flipped that game around entirely. And so the power play has got to get better. I would be more concerned about when Boston does take that penalty, you have to make them pay for it. Because what that does is if a team takes a penalty and they don't give up any chances or score shorthanded chances, they're going to take another penalty. And eventually the refs are going to be like, you know what, we're done calling penalties because, they have it in their mind about how many penalties they're calling, right? And so if your team continues to push the edge, you're going to get retaliation calls that go your way. You're going to get missed calls that go your way, and that's kind of what's happening right now. The Canes just need to make them pay for being, over the line with that.
Moose, I'll get to you in a second unless you got anything specific you want to chime in on. All right, I'm going to keep rolling here. So, and then Swain, I thought you had the best analysis of this. It's not whether or not, like, the goalie interference is almost like a block charge, right? Like, it's we'd like to see it more called one way than the other, but basically it's really hard to tell, and we understand that it's a hard call. The tough is, and I go back to the classic 2012 ACC tournament, State versus UNC. It's not that one call is a blocker charge, like getting mad about one blocker charge. It's when you have 2 nearly located calls that seem to be the same play, and it goes to the same team both times, right? A 50-50 call. And in this case, it's magnified. These are goal-scoring moments. It's literally a goal or not, things that only happen sometimes between 1 and 5 at most in a playoff hockey game. Really 4. 5s are like empty netters, right? So, like, you're talking about game-deciding block charge calls, and they seem to be the same play, and you called it different ways in favor of the same team twice. Right. So regardless of – you can argue till you're blue in the face, or – we literally may not be seeing what happened. We think we see the best angle. It's like, I think this happened, but I think your point is the best one of, like, it's hard to say 100% what happened. We can definitely say a similar play happened twice with a goal on the line, and both times went against the Canes. I think that's the best.
And even if you want to escalate that, it's not just the block charge, right? It would be the only scenario is a block charge where a basket is scored, and either the basket counts or it doesn't count, because it's happening like top of the key, whatever, like just D up, right? Like, okay, the call went against you, just D up. But it's only when a basket scored, and it would be like if basketball games ended 6-4, right?
Yeah.
Like it's such a huge. You're not just talking about a call going against you. You're talking about a goal literally being on the board or not being on the board in a game that 6 goals are going to be scored throughout the course of the entire game, and so that is a huge call.
What if we still played old school, like Naismith Peach Basket, where I think the final score of the first game was like 2-1 or something? Like, basketball was exactly the same, except for it was like really impossible to get the ball. Like, the net is like 30 feet in high, and it's only the size of the thing. So, like, you do all this stuff to get them down, but, like, at the end of the day, you're only getting in maybe 4 or 5 times. Not 40.
Yeah, like team wins the jump ball. They hold possession for 19 minutes and 58 seconds. And then they drive the basket, and there's a block charge call that, like, decides the game right there. Like, that would be the equivalent of what we're talking about here.
And then the third thing, without naming names, what in general is the media vibe that you're not vibing with?
I mean, look, Tony DeAngelo is polarizing character, right? Like,
do you think that's what it is, that people just still don't like him, and so now when they see bad things happening partly because of him, they want to, like, go to him?
Well, so it had been said earlier in the year, like, the Canes were smart for letting Hamilton go and bringing in Tony DeAngelo, right? And you've got a fan favorite that's probably the least controversial person on the planet that you're bringing into someone that has controversy around them, that now you're being told this new person's a better fit than the guy that you liked. And it's been kind of simmering for a lot of people for a long time. And as soon as, because the big knock on Dougie Hamilton is that he's soft as hell in the playoffs, right? Like, that was the big knock on him, is that He just kind of disappeared and was super soft. And so as soon as D'Angelo starts losing his cool a little bit, the Canes fans and members of the media come in and they start piling on that again. And it's just annoying as hell. It is annoying as hell.
All right. I do have a question. He and Marchand started beefing again. It's not just the losing games to the Bruins. It's like the people who are doing it are the people who at least want to do it. It looks like he made fun of Marchand's nose, correct?
Correct.
Now, we've had this discussion, like literally I'm having this discussion with different people about what we can and can't make fun of. And I get in today's world, making fun of physical appearance is like a thing. But then we saw Marchand calling Tony D'Angelo a racist. Was that in regards to him talking about his big nose, or was just saying in general, you've got the label racist and now I'm going to use this against you too?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume it's probably the second one.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if he was outwardly accusing him of being racist towards him in that moment.
Yeah, I felt like it was the second one, but like that's not, and that's part of what pissed me off yesterday. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you got called a racist. That's awesome." But let's not pretend like Brad Marchand isn't hanging out with Dave Portnoy.
Right.
Let's not pretend like
seriously.
not hanging out with Connor, the
Spinning
MMA
Chicklets guys.
the MMA guy.
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. He's hanging out with Conor McGregor. These are dudes that like throw in-bombs around religiously, and those are his boys, right? And all of a sudden, he's like the shining example of yes, he called that. He's an ally. No, Boston's waving barstool flags. Like, shut the fuck up about Boston being some shining example of how we should treat sports fans. Like, it's absolute bullshit, and that's what pisses me off more than anything is that we're holding up a piece of shit like Marchand and Boston in general as being like, a beacon of hope in this dark world.
Totally fair, with you 100% on that. Excellent. We've got Booster Josh Goodson joining us. Do you have any grand comment on the Canes before we move on from hockey? I didn't want you to miss out on your chance to chime in. JJ, feeling you, Swain.
It's funny watching Canes, especially with the wife. She chooses who she wants to win based on how many possible home playoff games could be left.
Sure.
So she loved when Boston won yesterday, and I told her potentially, there she went, potentially there could only be one Canes game left for me to attend.
So is she pulling for Boston so there's no more Canes, or was she pulling for the Canes this weekend so they could go ahead and like sweep and not even have a game 5?
I'm pulling for them this weekend. Like, so up until Friday night, I told her like if Canes won Friday and Sunday, there's like no Canes playoff home games for like a week or so at least. But then as soon as Boston won Friday, she's like, let's go Bees. Because now she understands that if the Canes lose Tuesday, they could eventually, in theory, be done Thursday. So I'm going tomorrow night. I do think I'm going to go tomorrow night. So
tell Kelly we don't appreciate that kind of energy.
Yeah.
We don't need that at all. She can go pull for Boston and racist Brad Marchand. All right, moving. Anything else hockey related you guys wanted to hit? Get loud, game 5. Let's not lose that one because then the series would start. That could be bad for the Canes.
That could be bad. If the series begins on tomorrow night, that could be bad.
If the series starts when the home team loses, does that mean it like that game counts in the result, or is the next game 1? Like, does the series start at the
consolidate? I think you have to consolidate if you're the road team that wins. Because if you're the road team that wins first, but then you lose the next game, then the series unstarts. And then we're back to square one again, basically, for a game 7.
The only way for a series to start is basically sweep. If you don't sweep a team, it's hard to even play a series.
No, the only thought I have was like this whole season we were like, Canes are good. Obviously, they're top 2 in the East. But when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, should we have been as cocky that like they were just going to win like in 5 games? I was like, it's still the Boston Bruins. They scored 1 million points this season as well. Like they're good. I mean,
What I hear Goodson saying is the playoff system is unfair and that we should have had a cupcake first round. Based on how
they
good we
did,
were.
well, no one does, except unless you're playing the Florida Panthers because they kind of stink now. So they do. That's kind of insane. Like they're aren't they down 2-1, Swain?
They are down 2-1 to the freaking.
That's why I brought you in for profound hockey analysis like that.
I did hear Swain's hockey analysis earlier. It's just I know what he was saying, but it was hilarious for him to say their power play is not killing us, but they've scored all their goals on the power play. It's like what? But
what I meant by that,
I know it's like it's from a pure statistic standpoint, like that's not killing us. It's just they're having way too many opportunities overall, and the Canes are basically dominating them 5-on-5. Which when people say that, like Canes are just dominating the 5-on-5 play, I'm such a hockey novice that like I can't see that. I can't visually like conceptualize like we just look better than them. But it's okay.
We do. Get into our fourth line, Goodson. Come on. All right. Other big sports thing this weekend. I was completely prepared to not care about the Kentucky Derby at all, to totally blow it off and pretend it didn't exist. It didn't exist. But then this happened.
So next after 3 quarters in 1 minute 10 and 4 seconds, and now Epicenter comes sliding horses and it is moving up quickly as Brown Pride takes the leader on the far turn.
If you haven't seen the overhead video, that's what we're watching right now. You must go watch this. I saw people like putting screen grabs up of Barry Sanders, like comparing Rich Strike's moves to Barry Sanders. Not just the comeback, but the weaving he does through here. Right there. Right there, it looks like Epicenter's done. Then it's like, oh, maybe it's a 2-horse race.
Simplification down the outside is next. They're coming down to the wire. Epicenter's ended. Rich Strike is coming up on the inside. Oh my goodness! The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby.
The first time he mentioned Rich Strike's name was basically to announce that he had won the race, and I don't even fault the announcer. Like there was no reason to say Rich Strike's name up until the last minute, but it was super cool. That was the video that was going around, the overhead view. I gotta say, I did not bet on the Kentucky Derby. However, I had reason to not want Epicenter or Zandon to win. Like those are the 2 horses I was like, dude, I do not want one of those 2 horses to win. So you're just watching and you're like, great, it's one of those 2 horses. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I can't imagine what it would be like to. I've been to a horse race that was basically just like a party. Like the big joke is like, oh, well, I didn't even see any horse races. I can't imagine what it would be like to be at a horse race and holding like a ticket of some value and watching that horse win. It was fun for me to watch.
Do we blame the odds makers?
What's that?
Do we blame the odds makers? Like how did they don't know? It's a freaking animal.
Sure.
Like I just
so every horse should be like if there's 15 horses in the field, they should all be 15-1.
Or they I guess. I mean, and I understand there's a few like races, like there's like a race in Florida. There's like a Florida Derby like in March that evidently is like a precursor to this. Like a lot of, if you watch like the lead up, they're saying, hey, in the Florida Derby, Epicenter finished second, and it was a wet track, and so because of all that, like that's why we think he's going to be like a top 5 chance to win the Derby, right? I get that, but to make I don't even mind that there's favorites, but like to have long shots, I think it's just a huge liability to actually like make a horse a long shot because you, in theory, just don't know.
Right, Luce, you live closer to horses than any of the rest of us. What were your thoughts?
It's always interesting to see an animal of that size move that nimbly through a pack of other animals. They don't even like when the lawnmower gets around them, Perm. So I don't know how they do it with other horses just hanging out like that. That's insane. But I watched that and I imagined you as Kramer on Seinfeld cheering on Papa Nick around the course. That's what I imagined you were doing.
No, dude, there was no one to cheer for. I was resigned. It was over it was like, great. There's 2 horses that I don't want to win, and it's going to be one of these 2. This sucks. And then it was like, what? At the last second. I mean, I didn't see that dude coming, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there he goes. Did you guys also?
Is it that big of a deal, though? Like, honestly, is it that big of a deal? I mean, all the horses that didn't win, did anyone expect them to be in the Kentucky Derby? Like, or they playing with house money? Does anyone care that they blew the biggest halftime lead in the history of the Kentucky Derby? Nobody cares about it. Like, it was house money for all those horses. They get to go home. They probably beat a rival on the way to the Kentucky Derby, and that's all they care about. They don't care about winning the Kentucky Derby. Like, who cares about winning the Kentucky Derby? You're there, and that's all that matters.
I don't think it was. I think trying to figure out what the definition of house money is in terms of like betting it. It might literally have been house money, or literally it's either literally is house money or literally not house money in that case. Did you guys see Rich Strike trying to bite another horse at the like you win and all the other horses like you come and get escorted or whatever to the interview room or whatever, and Rich Strike was like, "Get off, step off. I'm the best horse. Don't try and touch me." And yeah,
Is Rich Strike registered to race in, what is it, the Preakness? Is that next, or is it?
If you wasn't, I feel like you got to now, right?
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer, right? It's kind of like a travel tournament weekend, Perm, where on, bracket, gold bracket or silver bracket Sunday, and you're like, you know what? The weather kind of stinks out here. I really wouldn't mind losing this game. That way I don't have to sit around for the next one. And he ends up winning the stupid thing because the other team makes an error or kicks the ball away or does something stupid. And now you're like, fuck, I got to hang around for this next one. That's a whole nother 3 hours. He's got a whole nother race he's got to get ready for now. You can't just not run it.
Sure. Moose loves cussing. Or it'd be like he wins and then he loses to the Belmont and loses the Preakness, and it's like travel ball. He's like, the tough weekend, went 1 or 2, but we still got a trophy for being Kentucky Derby champs. Like we won that bracket. Other big sporting event that happened this weekend was apparently a big deal that the F1 was in Miami. So a lot of people talking about it. Here was the most important thing from that sporting event. Here we go.
This is crazy. I've never been to an F1 race. This is spectacular.
Oh, wait.
It's amazing to be allowed right in the middle of the competitors just before the race starts.
Yeah, now you can see they locked in. It reminds me of myself. But the real focus.
Okay, it's not Patrick. That's why he ignored me in the beginning. But what is your name, sir?
Paulo Banchero.
Right, okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
This is crazy.
All
I've
right,
never been to an F1 race.
He thought it was Patrick Mahomes. The thing that I didn't like about it was walking away, he did the whatever as if like it was the other guy's fault. Like, whatever, guy trying to be Patrick Mahomes out here. It's like, no, he's maybe about to be the number 1 overall draft pick and like, a highly paid NBA player. He's more famous than Patrick Mahomes was before he was drafted. You know what I mean? But just hilarious. And then the guy's like, whatever. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Much like the interviewer, I'm not going to ask a question to Paolo. I'm just going to give a statement and then stop talking and then hope that you pick it up. Because he did that too. He's like, man, they really look competitive out there. And he's like, yes, they look locked in like me.
They do. Yeah. Thank you for commenting on that.
I should have brought a picture. Do they even look that much alike? Was it the hairstyle that got him, or was the guy basing way too much off of like skin?
I mean, it would be like, I don't know, let's just say like a rapper and a bodyguard are in our studio.
Swain always trying to bring me down, Swain.
It's a quick backstory on that. Permar confused
Big Daddy Kane with Big Daddy Kane's bodyguard. I went with the bigger dude because the guy's name was Big Daddy.
You think Big Daddy Kane, you think big in
and he's just regular Daddy Kane. He's not that big.
But no, I think it was exactly what you're alluding to, that it was like guy that remotely looks like Patrick Mahomes and has a VIP pass to the pit crew, and that's who they think it is.
Andrea had a good.
He'll feel even more stupid when he realizes, because again, I think in his mind, he's interviewed someone that isn't Patrick Mahomes, who is pretending to be Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And then he's like, whatever, that was just some guy. And then once he realizes that who he actually spoke with, he'll feel like a complete idiot.
Or, okay, Andrea brings up a good point. She's saying the whatever is like stupid American football. Where producers like, hey, go talk to that guy because he's a football player. And the Sky Sports guy didn't want to talk to him anyway. But he's like, okay, I'm down here, whatever. What are you, quarterback? And then when he realized it wasn't him, he's like, whatever. It's football. I don't care. I don't know who they are anyway. I don't follow that sport. Arrogant British guy. Speaking of which, did your football club do something big this weekend, Swain? What happened?
I feel like Moose's team is just sent to like do nothing ever great and just F up other things of people trying to do.
Look,
great
if we want to be honest, there's no title race for Liverpool without Spurs. The Spurs took 6 points from Man City this season. So if you want to be real about that part of it, but Goodson's point, Spurs, yes, consistent NC Stateness that is nothing. They'll never be great ever. You just have to accept that and enjoy the ride.
Moose, how did you become a EPL fan in JoCo?
I've always enjoyed soccer. I played soccer in high school, and you watch the best soccer where soccer is available, and that's the EPL is the best league in the world.
Where were you watching it in high school?
I wasn't watching it in high school. I was playing it in high school.
All right, but so when
were you playing another sport like baseball where like the coach made you play soccer in the fall? That's literally like 95% of the soccer players east of 95.
Yeah, how did you get to play in soccer anyway?
Except for in Jacksonville.
I grew up playing soccer. I didn't play football. I had friends that played pee-wee football. I didn't do that.
Did your parents think you were soft or something?
No, I actually played rec sports when I was younger in Wake County, you jerks. Because I was closer to Wake County sports than I was Johnston County sports.
Were you a guest player in Wake County?
I was.
He's a
had
guest
to pay
player.
extra to play in there.
Do they have enforcers in soccer? Do they have goons? Is that what Moose was?
Absolutely.
I mean, did you not see the Tottenham Liverpool game? So that's they definitely do.
I did not. All right, moving on. Couple other things in the life arena. Let's start with this. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Good. I'm pinning this one on Goodson, but I'm not saying he's wrong. Mother's Day needs to be a thing, but is it too long? Goodson, make the case.
Yeah. Everything's too long.
Kel's right there, man. Come on. You can't ask him that.
In front of his wife? Yes, I am.
No, but it's not even so much Mother's Day too long. Like all holidays and everything is just too long.
Sure.
To be honest.
Yes.
Like,
Mother's Day, it feels like it's Mother's Day weekend now. Like you got to take mom out.
100%. Yeah.
You got to take her out on Friday and like shopping Saturday and then whatever.
And there's usually a full family event as well that's separate from the actual like singular Mother's Day event.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It can drag, but I would say the same thing for Father's Day too. Like I don't need a production.
Like, yeah, but so Mother's Day you get one brunch and some presents, and then you don't have to do whatever you don't want to do that day, right? Like we're not going to celebrate you all day, but the whole day you can spend however you want.
At Moose's house, they call that Tuesday. But yeah.
Yes. And wait, now Goodson, you said it's an all-day thing for Father's Day too. Has that been your experience? I feel like that is not the experience.
No, it's not. But it doesn't even need to be. Like Father's and I'm even okay with Father's Day being, if the weather's nicer on Saturday than Sunday, I can move my Father's Day, like golf. If golf is my thing, move my Father's Day stress-free, stay as long as you want, stay for a beer after, to Saturday, and understand that Sunday is just like a normal day.
Normal day. Yeah.
It can float.
We call that,
already mute.
we call that every weekend at Goodson's house.
The problem with Father's Day is that it starts off with like you build it in your mind of I might go play golf in the morning, and then I'm just gonna like sit and watch golf the rest of the day or whatever's on, and then it turns into, why aren't you spending Father's Day with your family and your kids? And like, no, that's the opposite of what Father's Day should be. And so then it turns into a production where you don't want it.
How was today any different than any other Sunday?
Yeah.
And on Father's Day, you get to go fishing with the boys, golf with the boys, whatever it might be, your little multi-hour activity, guilt-free and with no time limits necessarily, within a reasonable amount. And then you have to cook, but it's grill and it's whatever you want. Like you can pick it and have whatever. It doesn't have to be healthy, but you do still have to grill it. Which, being honest, you probably want to grill it anyway. You don't want somebody else grilling.
Yeah,
you don't want somebody else at your house
Throw
grilling.
some lettuce on the grill.
Charred romaine. Yes.
Let's stay on this. Just some quick hitters when it comes to Mother's Day. Breakfast in bed. Thoughts?
Nope.
It's stupid. There's way more chance of like literally you messing up your bed, to which then you have to wash the sheets, and then like changing bed sheets is like the worst thing in the history of the planet.
And there's no comfortable way to sit in bed anyway.
Yeah, it's not practical at all. Breakfast in bed is not
Stupid.
practical.
Lounging in bed and then getting up and going and eating breakfast, a cool combination, but putting them together, no good.
Where do we sit on getting a gift or having to get a gift for a dog mom?
No.
You have to birth a human.
My wife,
not even birth a human, but like have a child.
My wife loves our dog and, treats it like her child, but would be like offended if I told her Happy Mother's Day in a non-sarcastic way for being a dog mom. I agree with you.
What about last one? What about the Happy Mother's Day and Happy Mother's Days to the fathers that also had to be mothers?
Now, I will say, I feel like, okay, so this one, and again,
these go both ways. So I don't want to just paint it on Mother's Day. The same thing on Father's Day as well.
So here's a couple things, and this is, I don't know, this extends to like a larger thing of like policing society and words and how we do things. I saw some moms that were like definite moms that were trying to extend to the like happy celebrate Women's Day because I know that there are many women out there who want to be mothers and can't. There should be sympathy for women who want to be mothers and can't, right? There is a place in the world for that. There's
the
also
adoption agency.
What's that?
The adoption agency.
Yes.
Right.
Or I'm just saying in my whatever. I've also got nieces whose mom died, so like at age 6 for the youngest one, no mom, right? And I remember my brother-in-law, my late sister's husband, was like almost angry the first time he went through it of like how much Mother's Day stuff there was, and like the ministers preaching about Mother's Day, the schools doing all these Mother's Day gifts. But obviously that was more about like his loss to go through it, and he realizes it's not a weird. If you're gonna ever honor anybody, they can't all be all inclusive. You know what I mean? Like we should think about the people who don't have mothers, and we should think about the people who want to be mothers. But if we have to stop and include everybody anytime we honor anybody, I feel like it doesn't work, right?
Have you been and looked at
on Veterans Day, do we take it?
Hold on a second.
Goes fine.
Do we take time out on Veterans Day to think about those who weren't eligible to be in the military?
Yeah, exactly. Some people really wanted to, but they aren't medically. No, it's exactly. We stick to or honoring veterans. Okay, good. So what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, looking for cards this weekend kind of like proved the point of what you're getting at. There's too many damn options of who the card can come from and who it can go to at the same time. So if we can't just have it's for mom and it's from a kid, we've jumped the shark and there's just too many. There was
the fathers that are also mothers is great too. Like, wait a minute, you're getting, you have a day, it's coming up. Wait a month. Like, you don't need to be honored today.
Yeah.
And also that's funny to me because I feel like that comes from a place of, we need to be respectful and inclusive of everybody, which is a good place to come from. But it's also explicitly defining what a father is and what a mother is. And like, for the single fathers who also do the mom stuff, what is the mom stuff? Tell me what that is without being offensive. Tell me what the mom stuff is without you being offensive, and let's see how that goes.
Like, just be a dad. Other things that I had on my list. Goodson, do you want to discuss your prominent place in the NC State fundraising world now?
There's nothing really to.
Well, I've seen you've been making the rounds on NC State podcasts, so I figured it was at least. Not saying that you have anything to say. I'm just.
he's in the crosshairs now. I felt like that's why he's actually backlit today. It was to protect his identity because NCAA is coming. NCAA is coming after booster affiliated collectives.
They'll be watching. Yeah.
Did anybody notice this? Like when Miami, USC, all these people started up their collectives, like the game's been going, the money's been churning. As soon as Goodson and NC State announced that they had their crew together, the NCAA was like, that's it. We can't. We're not. Everybody's going to be trying to compete now. This is not what this is for. This is for Alabama and the big programs to be able to just bring above board the stuff they've been doing. We can't have NC State out here thinking that they can compete in big sports. The final thing I had.
Our website does launch today, so we can have people join the Pack of Wolves today. Just give us your money.
I cannot wait to go to that site over and over and hit up Goodson anytime that it's down. That Goodson, your website's down. Oh, what is this? This guy's trying to get. It's not Father's Day, dude.
Yeah.
This is
doing the mom stuff over here. Just
on the baby. On the baby. That's mom
stuff. Mason Paul Goodson making his debut on the. Why didn't you? We could have gotten huge ratings if I announced the baby was going to make an appearance. People love babies. Look, the viewership's already going up. People are spotting babies.
I'm going to say it right now. Goodson's baby's wearing a wire. Goodson's baby's been turned by the feds and is collecting information about the Pack of Wolves. And
I will say, if anything, the NIL stuff, like basketball is insane, and that's the toughest part that we are having to deal with. The kid that's like any transfer, especially a transfer that only has like a year eligible and remaining, that's like the toughest one to kind of, I don't want to say crack, but that's the toughest one that you need that player. You would like that player's services, and then there's name, image, and likeness stuff attached to it. But like the marketability of a Jarkel Joyner from Ole Miss for 8 months to NC State is like, what are we exactly? Are we going to ever get the return? Is there ever like a true return from that? And the answer is probably no, but that's a basketball issue more than anything else.
Swain's recording you. Swain, I can record the whole video and send it to you later. Don't worry.
It literally is a podcast for him. But no,
that does make sense. How do you know if they're going to turn into a superstar like Brady Manick?
True.
And the final thing, we talked about golf for Father's Day since it's coming up. The question is, your kid looks scared of us. Do golf courses, this is from Golf Magazine. I don't know, Miss, you showed us this. The etiquettist, when golf courses punch greens, should they warn paying customers in advance? The answer is, of course, right? Do they not have to? I feel like I don't book.
I honestly, I don't know if they have to, but there's oftentimes you get up there and you really don't realize it till you're there.
I guess most of the bookings I do online now, but not too long ago, I called somebody and I was like, "Oh, do you guys openings?" And they were like, "Yeah, come on in, whatever." Like, just heads up, we just punch the greens. And I was like, "Sweet, I'm not coming."
Yeah, and I think this piece I linked to actually down a ways in there says that things like Golf Now don't have that information. And like Goodson, I know will just go grab a tee time off there. But the courses aren't telling.
Some of them do have alerts, like airification alert or whatever you want to call it. My thing is, like, what the hell do we need this stuff? And why can't we do it in like January when no one wants to play golf anyways?
If it's warm in January,
probably some science behind that. But like the trick that you have to do is you have to go into like Google or Yelp to read the reviews, because if somebody plays a course and the greens are punched,
like,
go put it on there. So go to the reviews, sort by newest. People will tell you what kind of condition the greens are in, or the fairways just got punched or whatever. That's the only way to do it. But in general, like, this ranks up there with, you go to a restaurant to get a certain type of food and they're like, "Oh, we're out of shrimp." Like, they need to, if you're out of something that people are going specifically to do, or you need to tell them that you don't have it.
I'm with that. Although I will say, there is that nice safety net of like, I'm not taking a 3-putt on a punch green. Like But I will only be one or two putting.
Wait, and you're marking that as a score for like a handicap eligible round.
100%.
You're a
Because
bad
at some
guy.
point,
You're a bad guy.
at
That's why
some
you
point-
were fluffing. You were fluffing so bad. You're playing more golf than tour pros right now. Your handicap's just going down.
At some
Who knows?
point,
Who's auditing you? Because you don't audit yourself. It sounds
You're cheating yourself. You don't want your handicap to go
cheating
down.
yourself if you're doing that.
no, because I'm going low, dudes.
No,
But,
like, the
at
thing
some
to
point,
do,
if I
the
putt-
thing to do would be to, if you have an 8-foot putt, pick it up and say that's a 2-putt, right? Like that's the thing to do. Inflate your handicap. You don't want your handicap to go down.
No, I need the scores. I'm trying to make the tour. But no, at some point, if I'm on a aerated green and I putt twice and it hadn't gone in, one of those 2 putts has been affected by the aerated green. That's
Moose
just
would shoot 65 every round if he just did that type mentality.
take only 2 putts. He drives like half the par fours, so he's there. It's just the putting. Anyway,
Not true. Not true.
all right. Canes back in action tomorrow night. I
Do you
didn't do that.
aerate your greens and don't tell us? If you aerate and sand and don't tell us, that's coming for
This
you.
is what happens. If there's enough sand to be able to draw a picture in it, then you deserve whatever picture that we draw. Deal with it, golf courses.
I've got nothing to do with that one.
That's it. It's a tough green right there too. Actually, I don't mind sand on that green. Holds a little bit better. All right, Canes back in action tomorrow night. We'll discuss it Wednesday.
Tomorrow is an important game, by the way.
Whoa, you know it's a big game if even Goodson thinks so. For the Weather Moose, Goodson, Swain, and BG. Sports Channel 8, we're out.
Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, when you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's sports.